adventure, sports, outdoors. With host Harry Canterbury.
There I was, back in the wild again, and I felt right at home where I belong. I had that feeling coming over me again, just like it happened so many times before. Yeah.
Hi, Harry Canterbury with another edition of Adventure Sports Outdoors. Join us today as we do some gardening in Illinois. This was taped about 2 years ago. We're growing tomatoes, and we got some beautiful plants, and we've got a master gardener showing indigenous species of plants from Illinois. We also got Cathy and I making sauerkraut and a bunch of other stuff. So stay tuned for a great show. And hey, a little hope, spring's just around the corner.
Adventure Sports Outdoors is brought to you in part by Corsall Lumber, manufacturers of quality hardwood products, buyers of standing timber in Smithfield. Central Pool Supply, everything from pools to pool tables and much more in Peoria on West Pioneer Parkway. Kelleher's Irish Pub and Eatery, located on Peoria's riverfront, open 11 a.m. daily. Eastport Marina, one of the only marinas in its class between Chicago and St. Louis, on Mariners Way in East Peoria. Goodwill, supporting our veterans with job placement assistance, health, housing, and resource referrals. And the General Wayne A. Downing Home for Veterans, all because you shop and donate. And by Lori Feld of Allstate Insurance, conveniently located in Peoria, East Peoria, and Springfield. Our thanks to all of these sponsors.
Hi, this is Rob Garles in rural Farmington. I'd like to show you around our place, show you how I reuse some of the materials I bring home from work and from auctions and such. We'll say hi to the chickens, see the bees and some of the gardens. Come on, let's take a look. What we have here is this old barnwood that I'm recycling. Bought it at an auction, brought it out here, some hog paneling and such. I built some raised beds. This keeps everything up, easier to get to. Tomatoes really like climbing up on this. Shouldn't be long, and when I'm coming by on the mower, I can just grab a snack. We have milkweed here. It's a native plant, grows like crazy. It's great for all the pollinators, especially the bees. I try to let it grow anywhere that I can, so there are places where I mow that you'll see I just erratically mowed around this stuff to keep it growing. So wherever it grows, I just let it go. Out here, got full sun all day, so it works out real nice for the peppers and tomatoes and such. Use some dog kennels for tomato and peppers. Over here, I've got some material that came from a job I was on last summer, and I have some other parts and pieces here from that job. I like to rescue stuff from the trash and use it for growing the plants, and the plants seem to dig it, so it's working for us. Old farm equipment there, those cages, panel fence there, using that. This is several different varieties of tomatoes. I leave the tag down in there with them so I know what they are if I can't figure it out on my own. I planted everything a little bit later than I probably should have, and I have found in the past that has worked to my advantage more than once. When other people had a lot of trouble with stuff that they had planted at the appropriate time, they got too much rain or too cold, or the bugs got them, and I've been having luck planting at off times. So my squash and zucchini is really little right now, and other people's is already producing. Some of that's just me being lazy, and some of that's, I'll tell you that I did it on purpose, but it's not true. Here's what's left of the beehives that we have here. I only have one active hive right now. I used to have several hives through here. I used to do removals from people's homes. Go in and tear out the bees that had built a nest in the home, bring them out here, put them in a new hive. When we bought this place 7 years ago, there was already an established orchard here that the folks before us had started. Really happy about that. It was a big selling point for us. But guy did maintain it using a lot of chemicals and such, and I've not. I don't spray anything here. I've had substandard results because of that, but I'm not afraid to eat my fruit. So I'm pleased with that. Here's some of the apples we've got going. But we have peaches, pears, plums, many apples, Asian pears. There's a ton of trees out here. We started keeping chickens several years ago. We still have some of our original girls. I like having chickens. It's a lot of fun. They are really fun to be around. They will follow me out in the garden. Frustrates my wife greatly because whenever she tries to plant something, the chickens will follow behind and dig it up for her. But it's great when you're weeding because they will follow behind, and any bugs that you come across, they scoop right up. That's really fun. Years ago, we were told by a friend of ours that you can't really have a good homestead without having chickens. And after we got chickens, we understand now what exactly he meant, because they're just such an integral part of our pest management system. They take care of all kinds of things around here. They let us know what's going on. If a car's coming up the road, the guineas announce it. When the car gets here, the peacocks announce it. Sometimes the roosters just holler. All right, in here we have nest boxes that I built, again, out of reclaimed materials. These are old handrails that weren't up to code. They got replaced. They became part of the chicken house. All the wood here, all recycled, all stuff that I salvaged off of job sites. So our girls get in here and they lay their eggs. Do all sorts of nice stuff for us. Got various shades of brown. Got some blue and bluish green eggs from our Easter egg layers. Lots of delicious eggs. Well, thanks for letting me show you around. I had a good time. I hope you did. Hope maybe you learned something or got inspired by some of my repurposing of castaway materials, stuff that would have otherwise been in the landfill that I've brought here and used to make garden structures with. Happy gardening.
Now another good friend of ours, Connie Eade from Springfield, Illinois, has one of the most beautiful gardens I've ever seen. She works very hard at it.
She has her own little greenhouse, and she puts in annuals, tons of them every year, and then of course her perennials come up all the time. She has lots of hostas, and it's just a beautiful backyard. She's created a little paradise.
And she has what we call a green thumb. Mine's black, but
Hers is green.
She has a green thumb and really does a fabulous job.
Hi, I'm Connie Eade from Sherman, Illinois, and I'm a gardener. I love it. I started gardening in the 1990s, and I can't stop. It's an addiction. I consider my garden an English garden, an old-fashioned garden. And the things that I purchase, the suns I get in Mexico, and to me it brings warmth into the garden. The birds and natural little things, I just try to make it look like an outdoor room, like an arboretum is what I feel it looks like, with wind chimes, and we have many birds, varieties of birds that love to come here. It's just like a little home for them. This is actually, I believe it is an Asian lily, and you notice it has all the trumpets on it, and they're different colors. It's a variegated pink that goes down, and then the trumpets are yellow. It's just a beautiful flower. Here is another lily next to it, and if you'll notice, the colors are just so unique. The outsides are pink, and the trumpets are yellow, and then the ends match the pink of the flower. Right here, I have a nice growth of Coreospis. They're the taller variety. I wanted the shorter one, but I planted them by seeds, and then they just came up on their own, and they're just filling out. And its companion is this beautiful burgundy lily. Right here I have a basket of verbena and these little trumpet petunias, which are gorgeous, mixed with verbena. And over here we've got pansies, not pansies, but petunias with salvia. This is one of my favorite baskets that I have. And I did buy this basket, but I got it for a great price. And it's a mixture of wave verbena and wave petunias in the different colors. Very nice variety. Nice for your garden. Over here is my hibiscus. It's a twisted tree hibiscus. And then I've matched it with impatiens to match the flower. And right here, it hasn't bloomed yet. This will be a 4th of July bloomer. This is a mallow hibiscus. And the flowers on this plant are as big as a saucer, this large. And this ended up being a beautiful color. It's called a blue-eyed petunia, and it's a wave variety. And I put this basket together myself. And I've also added some salvia down below to get some more color in here. And then our daylilies, and we've got over here in the pot, I've got coral bells, which actually could be in the ground, but it's a nice variety of colors. And the elephant ears, I love those. Those are the large, big leaves, and they come in several different colors. You can get them in purple, black, red, and that happens to be the giant version. And over here, this is a gardenia, and it smells heavenly. And again, I've matched it with white impatiens to match the color, make it color romantic. And over here, can't think of it, is a clematis vine. This comes back every year. In fact, my neighbors gave me this vine when they changed their yard. So it's got a new home. Right here I have impatiens, which I love because they're no work. And I believe right now my count is 44 hanging baskets. Some of them I've got sitting in pots. And again, this is a New Guinea impatiens. And then I've got all my lilies down here which bloom. They're so sad. They only bloom once in the year, but they are so beautiful. Then over here I've got my bird bath. And this is a phlox over here, which will be blooming in August. And they get big plumes of flowers on them. And now, 4th of July, all this will be yellow with the, I call them takeover Susans. They are actually black-eyed Susans, but they will be blooming in about 2.5 weeks, and it will be all color of yellow. One thing about gardening here is it keeps me in shape. Digging and pulling weeds, constantly crawling on the ground, getting down, doing stuff. It's great exercise, as well as the mental feeling of accomplishing this all on my own. And actually, when you look at these patios, I built them all myself. They weren't here. I did them block by block. I hope you've enjoyed my gardening tour today. Happy gardening.
Now we're going to see the master gardener, Connie Waller, who's a neighbor of ours in Peoria. She does a fantastic job, doesn't she?
Connie has her whole yard full of perennial indigenous plants that are originally from Illinois. She went through the county program to become a master gardener, so she's certified.
Yeah, she's one of the gals that knows what plants are. I'd say,
Truly.
What's that? Is that a rose?
Yeah.
But anyway, she knows all the stuff, and she does a great job.
Good afternoon. I'm Constance Waller. I'm a certified master gardener with the University of Illinois Extension, Peoria County. Thanks for letting me show you my place of sanity and serenity. If you ignore beauty, you will soon find yourself without it. But if you invest in beauty, it will remain with you all the days of your life. And that was said by Frank Lloyd Wright. As one of my master gardeners instructors said when I was going through training, and I'll never forget it, gardening is the slowest of the performing arts. Over here is a bed of nasturtium. I'm going to use the common name instead of the botanical name for less confusion. Besides, I don't know the botanical names. This is a host plant for the white cabbage butterfly and also an herb. Both the foliage and the flowers are edible, and I understand, although I haven't had it, but it's very, very good. Now over here, and in various other beds, I have placed nectar plants with zinnias and annual. Zinnias are annual. This is a non-native perennial. Let's see, Veronica Speedwell, I believe it is. And these are our beautiful native cone flowers. You can see how they attract bees. And the cone flower had many uses, such as blood purifier to rid people of acne or boils, since in the old days, these problems were believed to be caused by contaminants in the blood. In addition, the plant was employed to cure blood poisoning. Goldfinches love the seeds as well. This is a cup plant. Chewing gum from this plant helped prevent vomiting. Okay, back there, that long gizmo, that's a compass plant. The leaves tend to orient themselves in a general north-south direction. Also many uses, a tonic for horses, used by traders to cleanse teeth and sweeten breath too. And this is Baptisia. This was used medicinally by Native Americans and European settlers. A tea of the leaves has been used to treat fevers, giving rise to the common names wild quinine and feverfew. Okay, this is, I have 2 clumps of prairie drop seed. You can see it's blooming now, and this, Native Americans made flour from the seeds. This is mountain mint. It's got a wonderful, wonderful fragrance. The bees love it, flies love it, and this was, the leaves were used to make tea. Back there, that beautiful red plant is royal catchfly, which is rare due to loss of prairie habitat and endangered in some states, including Illinois. Here's white prairie clover, and back here's purple prairie clover. Native Americans used the plants medicinally by applying tea made of the leaves to open wounds. Nodding wild onion, and as the name indicates, it was used for food. It has a mild onion fragrance and taste. Blazing star, Liatris. Native Americans used the leaves and tubers of various blazing star species for a number of medicinal purposes: urinary trouble, and at least one species, Chapman's blazing star, according to Lewis and Alvin Lewis in a publication, Medical Botany, contains a substance called liatrin, which is considered to be a cancer therapeutic drug. Rosinweed in the aster family, and the leaf of this plant is so rough it cannot easily be rubbed. It is somehow processed and used by pitchers in baseball. You've heard of a rosin bag. Gray-headed coneflowers, a lovely plant in the aster family. delicate, drooping, and I just love this one. The rest of our garden is mainly wooded. In the spring down here, it's beautiful. It's full of phlox and golden alexanders. And all over the hillside where you see those cone flowers down there, it's covered with Virginia bluebells in mid-April to May. It's just lovely. Soil, sun, plants, wildlife. I urge you to contact your local University of Illinois Extension office and get started with the training program to be a master gardener or master naturalist. Happy gardening.
Hi, I'm Dave Barth with your Sportsman's Tip of the Week. In 2017, switchblade knives became legal. You must have an Illinois Firearms ID card and you must be 21 years of age to possess one. Here are some examples of switchblade knives. These are economy models here. This is a side folder. Another one, and we have an out the front. These sell for in the $30 to $60 range. A little winter camouflage here. And some of the high-end switchblades are Benchmades. Here's a side folder, and most of the side folders will have a safety. Flip the safety off and you're ready to go, and it's pretty heavy spring tension. They make an out the front, and most of them have a pocket clip, and that's an example of out the front. And then we have a selection of Cobra Tech knives. These are pretty good quality knives and at a reasonable price. They're in the $100 range for the most part. And again, it's out the front. If you're in law enforcement, they have a glass breaker on the back end of them. They come with a nice hard case and many different colors and blade styles. So if your hands are full and you need to operate a knife with one hand, a switchblade is a good way to go. I'm Dave Barth with your Sportsman's Tip of the Week.
We used to grow a big garden many years ago when we had the farm, and we used to grow a lot of cabbage. I made the sauerkraut, and Cathy and I, we did it, and it was good. Hey, we're at the Canterbury home in Tremont, Illinois. I'm here with my wife, Cathy, my better half, and we're going to make sauerkraut. We're going to give you all the things you need to know about making sauerkraut. It's not a real hard recipe. Okay, the first thing you do is you got to get the right stuff, and you have to have a crock. And I have a crock right down here, which is a 5-gallon crock, and I make 2 5-gallon crocks. These cost about $20 a piece. They last for a lifetime, and if you've got an old one, an antique one, it'll work fine. Take your leaves off. That you want to take off the leaves that don't really look too good. You just peel those off. Now, one thing I want to tell you is save those leaves, because once you get your sauerkraut chopped up, your cabbage chopped up, you can lay this on top of your crock all the way around and put a couple layers of these. So you want to save a lot of these big leaves right here. I'll put those in a pile because we're going to use these a little later. Of course, you don't eat those, but you use those to kind of seal your kraut. As it ferments, it'll start bubbling, and this helps keep all the bubbles down and all the things that are underneath it, and keeps the bugs off it. But we'll show you in a little bit what we do to the crock, because you want to seal your crock so the bugs, the ants, and everything else that's present in a basement don't get into your sauerkraut. Now we're going to chop this baby in half, and there you go. As you can look right there, see the fine, beautiful cabbage that we're going to chop up and put into the crock. So we're getting ready to do it, and I usually quarter them like so. Put each quarter over here, and now we're going to commence the chopping. When I was outside last night, I just chop. I had as much on the ground as I did on the table. But you just chop it up like this, and you just keep going, and you just keep it cutting her. So I chop it up nice and even like that, and I come across and I look at it and see what needs to be chopped up, and I get it really good and fine.
Well, when I was little, when I was small, my mom always cooked sauerkraut. She didn't make it or anything, but she would cook with it and do kielbasa was very common. And of course, she'd do the ribs too. But my family always liked sauerkraut.
Now it's ready to season. We've got the crock about almost full. But once we mash that down, it'll go down substantially. I've still got about 4 or 5 more heads to put in there. And then what we'll do is we'll taste it as we season it, and then we'll mush it and get it going. And in about a week, or a week and a half, she'll start fermenting. So let's take care of this first. Shake that over the top about like that. And you want to taste it, so what we'll do is we'll mix this up here on the top a little bit. I got it mixed. Take your fist and just squeeze it down in there like that. And just keep popping.
So what we do is we put it in the crock, and it stays in the crock about 6 weeks and ferments. And then in about 5 to 6 weeks, we bring it back up and you peel the stuff off the top. Then you get your canning lined up, and you're gonna can it. And so you put it, well, I think it's 7-quart jars you do at a time. And so after it's cooked and fermented, then we put it in the canner and we cook it more. So that takes care of any bacteria or germs that would be in it. Canning makes it sterile.
Now it's time to check the seasoning. Take a little out. It's there. You do it by trial and error. Well, we got this crock ready to go, and she's seasoned properly, I believe. She's had plenty of salt, and she's going to go down in the basement, in a cool basement, and ferment for about 6 weeks. Okay, now we're going to place the bag over the leaves here. I've got my leaves in. I like to have it all covered up really nice. Then you take your bag and set it in there. Stretch it over. Pull it down. And then you want to stuff this in here and make a nice cavity. And then you pour water on top of that, and that will keep the bugs out, the dirt, the grime, and everything else. It's sealed up really nice. And one of the things that's really nice is the satisfaction that you get out of planting your own garden, processing the garden, and turning it into something you really like to do. It's a lot of work, and I'm telling you, it's not an easy thing to do. But if you like that satisfaction, you have the time, try it. It is really good.
Adventure Sports Outdoors is brought to you in part by Corsall Lumber, manufacturers of quality hardwood products, buyers of standing timber in Smithfield. Central Pool Supply, everything from pools to pool tables and much more in Peoria on West Pioneer Parkway. Kelleher's Irish Pub and Eatery, located on Peoria's riverfront, open 11 a.m. daily. Eastport Marina, one of the only marinas in its class between Chicago and St. Louis, on Mariners Way in East Peoria. Goodwill, supporting our veterans with job placement assistance, health, housing, and resource referrals. And the General Wayne A. Downing Home for Veterans, all because you shop and donate. And by Lori Feld of Allstate Insurance, conveniently located in Peoria, East Peoria, and Springfield. Our thanks to all of these sponsors.
Thanks for watching another edition of Adventure Sports Outdoors. I hope it gets warm up there. I hear the next few days it should get into the 40s, which is really, really nice for you folks. And
Let the ice melt.
Yeah, get rid of that snow and get rid of that ice. It's going to be 84 here today. We got a cold front coming in. It's going to get down to about 71 this weekend. I think we'll make it.
So hope to see you next month for the next edition of Adventure Sports Outdoors
That's
television.
Right. See you next month.